Good morning, everybody. Okay, so we're going to keep going with our one and only Ivan book. But before good readers ever start to read, they need to think about what happened. Where am I at in this book? What's going on with our characters? So take a second, pause the video, think about what has happened in our book so far. Okay, so you should have said something like, Ivan is in this mall, kind of cramped conditions. He lives with Stella and Ruby and Bob, and Stella has just passed away from that infection in her foot, and Ruby is the baby elephant, and Ivan promised Ruby that he would take care of her and he would make sure that Ruby did not live the same life that Stella did. So that's a big ask from Stella, and I think that's going to be really important to the book. So let's see where we go today. The one and only Ivan. Side note, that's the title of the book and the title of this chapter. Do you think it's important? I hope you said yes. When all the humans have left, I send Bob to check on Ruby. How is she? I ask when he returns. She was shivering, Bob said. I tried to cover her with hay, and I told her not to worry because you were going to save her. I glare at him. You told her what? You promised Stella. Bob lowers his head. I wanted to make this kid feel better. I shouldn't have made that promise, Bob. I just wanted... I point to Stella's domain, and for a moment it seems like I've forgotten how to breathe. I wanted to make Stella happy, I guess, but I can't save Ruby. I can't even save myself. I flop down onto my back. The cement is always cold, but tonight it hurts. Bob leaps onto my belly. You are the one and only Ivan, he says. Mighty Silverback. He licks my chin, and he's not even checking for leftovers. Say it, Bob commands. I look away. Say it, Ivan. I don't answer, so Bob licks my nose until I can't stand it any longer. I am the one and only Ivan, I mutter. And don't you ever forget it, he says. When I gaze at the food court skylight, the moon Stella loved is shrouded in clouds. Now, do you think the author chose that picture, this moon that Stella loves, to be shrouded in clouds? What do you think that picture means? What do you think it represents? All right, once upon a time. All night, Ruby moans and sniffles. I pace my domain. I don't want to fall asleep in case she needs something. Ivan, Bob says gently, get some sleep. Please, for your sake, and for mine. Bob can't sleep unless he's on my stomach. I hear a stirring. Ivan, Ruby calls. I rush to my window. Ruby, are you all right? I miss Aunt Stella, Ruby sobs, and I miss my mom and my sisters and my aunts and my cousins too. I know, I say, because it's all I can think of. Ruby sniffles. I can't sleep. Do you know any stories the way Aunt Stella did? Not really, I admit. Stories were Stella's specialty. Tell me a story about when you were little, Ruby pleads. She puts her trunk between the bars. Please, Ivan? I scratch the back of my head. I don't remember things, Ruby, I admit. It's true, Bob says, trying to be helpful. Ivan has a terrible memory. He's the opposite of an elephant. Ruby lets out a long, shivery breath. Oh, well, that's okay. Night, Ivan, and Bob. I listen to Ruby's soft sobs for long, horrible minutes. And then I hear myself saying, once upon a time, there was a gorilla named Ivan. And slowly and deliberately, I try to remember. Now, I'm going to stop us there for a second. One of the lessons we've been working on in Read Aloud is that when a character changes, characters are predictable, characters have ways that they act. And when a character changes that way, it's important. It's a really important thing that's happening. So, Does Ivan usually remember the past? Hopefully you said no. He does not remember the past. And now he's actually trying to. And so there must be a reason there. What do you think that is? Why is he changing? All right, we're on to the grunt. I was born on a place humans call Central Africa, in a dense rainforest so beautiful no crayons could ever do it justice. Gorillas don't name their newborns right away the way humans do. We get to know our babies first. We wait to see hints of what they might be. When I saw how much she loved to chase me around the forest, my parents decided to name my twin sister's name Tag. Okay, now you should stop and be like, oh, he has a stuffed animal named not Tag, and he has a sister named Tag, but she's not in this story. What in the world happened? Oh, how I loved to play tag with my sister. She was nimble, but when I got too close, she would leap onto my unsuspecting father. Then I would join her, and we would bounce on that tolerant belly until he gave us the grunt, the rooting pig sound that meant enough. The game never got old, although my father might have disagreed. Mud. It didn't take long for my parents to find my name. All day long, every day, I made pictures. I drew on rocks and bark and my poor mother's back. I used the sap from leaves, I used the juice from fruit, but mostly I used mud. And that is what they called me. Mud. To a human, mud might not sound like much, but to me, it was everything. So we are calling this gorilla Ivan. But what's his real name? Mud. And is that an important name to him? Okay, so let's see how that plays out in the book. Protector. We'll go through 2 more chapters. My family, which humans call the troop, was just like any other gorilla family. There were 10 of us, my father, the silverback, my mother and 3 other adult females, a juvenile male called Blackback, and 2 other young gorillas. Juvenile means kid or like teenager. Tag and I were the babies of the group. We squabbled now and then, as families will, but my father knew how to keep us in line with a simple scowl. And for the most part, we were happy to do that, or do what we were meant to do, to feed and forage and nap and play. My father was a master at leading us to the ripest fruit for our morning feast and finest branches for our night nests. He was everything a silverback is meant to be, a guide, a teacher, a protector. And nobody could chest beat like my father. A perfect life. Gorilla babies and elephant babies and human babies are not so different, except that a gorilla gets to spend the day riding on his mother's back like a cowboy on a horse. It's a pretty great system from a baby's point of view. Slowly, carefully, a young gorilla begins to venture farther and farther away from the safety of his mother's arms. He learns the skills he will need as an adult. How to make a nest of branches, weave them tightly or they will fall apart in the middle of the night. How to beat your chest, cup your palms to amplify the sound. How to go vining from tree to tree, don't let go. How to be kind, be strong, be loyal. Growing up gorilla is just like any other kind of growing up. You make mistakes, you play, you learn. You do it all over again. It was, for a while, a perfect life. Now, I want you to think for a second. I feel like that's warning us about something. Right now, he's got a perfect life. And we know that Ivan, or Mud right now, he ends up in a mall, in a concrete mall where people come and look at him. Right now, he's in the jungle. He has this perfect life about him. Do you feel like there's going to be a change? Okay. We will find out when we come back to school on Wednesday, when we come to the end. And we'll find out what happens. I hope you have a great day. Stay warm. Make sure you do a little reading on your own. Find a good book that you want to read. And I will see everybody on Wednesday.